Hello guys, in today's class we'll try to understand how to implement the port security on the layer 2 devices, right? Layer 2 device is nothing but the switch, right? So this is my topology. So here I have considered two PCs, then one more is the attacker machine, right? So first we will complete the connection part, right? So just I'm taking the connections. Fast Ethernet 0, then port, these many ports are available, so out of it you can assign any port. For PC2 we are assigning FA0 by 5 port. It may be anything port, right? So for attacker we will do port security operation. What will be happen without port security, how attacker can gain the access of the switch without having the port security. Then after implementation of the port security, how attacker cannot be able to access our switch in the local area network, that we are going to see in today's lecture, right? Now we'll try to give the IP addresses for each and every switch, right? So I'm just opening the first PC0 system. Just click on the desktop. Then here we have the IP configuration. Just give any IP address. It may be class A, class B, class C, or whatever it may be. 192.168.1.1 I'm giving here. You don't require to give subnet mask. It will be automatically calculated, right? So again go to PC2. Then give the IP address 192.168.1.2 right? Once it is done, later on we will give the IP address for the attacker machine also, right? Now if you want to check the connectivity, just click on here PC1, then go to command prompt. Now what is the other switch where we have the destination? It is in the PC2, right? Just type the command to check the connectivity. Ping 192.168.1.2. we need to enter the destination IP address. See that here we have the pinging connectivity, right? So once it is done, let me go back to the switch, then we will try to implement the port security operation, right? So go to click on the switch, then select the command line interface, right? So just click on enter. So we are in user executive mode, right? If you want to go to privilege executive mode, just type the command enable, right? So this as means we are in the privilege executive mode, right? So once it is done, now we'll see that how many MAC address, right? We know that layer 2, right? Switch is layer 2 device, so which will completely work based on the MAC address mechanism, right? So the moment you communicate from PC0 to PC1, it will be able to copy the MAC address of the PC0, right? So if you want to see that what is the MAC address, just type the command show MAC something like this, show MAC address table, right? If you type this command show MAC address table, see that it is run dynamically. So FA0 by 1 is that this interface, right? So what is this corresponding MAC address value? This is the corresponding MAC address value. So this is one more switch, one more PC, right? So what is this MAC address value? This MAC address value is this one, right? Now what I'm going to do is, out of FA0 by 1 as well as FA0 by 5, we can able to protect any port, right? So it means that for demonstration port security, I'm going to consider the FA0 by 1 port. So what I am trying to do is here is, so this is my MAC address, right? So if someone coming with this MAC address only, I'll allow the traffic to move forward from the switch to the remaining devices in the network. So if anybody is coming other than this IP address, other than this MAC address, something attacker machine will be having the different MAC address, right? The moment if he try to access this port, right, so he cannot able to communicate with the switch, so that he cannot able to communicate with the other device in the network, right? So for that reason we are implementing the port security, right? So in port security we have three violations mode. So one is called as the shutdown, another one is the restrict mode, another one is the protect mode. We will see the each and every difference, so by practically implementation of the port security concept, right? So for demonstration I am considering the port security concept at the interface FA0 by 1 of the switch 2960, right? So first what we will do is, here we are going to allow the only this IP address, this MAC address we are going to allow, right? So this MAC address we need to tell that switch, if someone is coming with this MAC address, then only you allow the packet or frame, whatever it may be, right? So if some other guy somehow he access this port, right, this port FA0 by 1, if he is trying to communicate with you, don't allow. Means we are completely binding this MAC address so that nobody can communicate with the by copying this corresponding Ethernet cable or LAN cable or FA0 by 1 port, right? So that is what we are going to do here, right? So for that, what I am going to do is FA01 MAC address is one, right? So this I am going to copy, right? This I am going to copy. So for this MAC address, I am going to allow port security. Other than any MAC address, it won't be come into the network, right? So first let me clear the MAC table, right? So the command is clear MAC address table, right? Now we need to go into the configuration mode. So for that, what is the command we need to type is configure terminal is the command to type, right? Configure terminal, right? Now we are in configuration mode. Whatever the operations we need to perform or configuration we need to perform, we can perform here, right? Now see that which interface we are implementing the port security, FA0/1, right? So that name is interface of FA0/1, right? Now we are going to give switch port mode. This is going to we are giving as the access mode, right? So now what is our intention is that we need to implement the port security mechanism, right? So switch port security is the command, right? So once it is done, so here what we are exactly going to do, we are binding the MAC address, then we are telling the switch interface FA0/1 also how many MAC address that can be allowed. It may be single or multiple, that we are going to tell. If any other than this MAC address is someone coming to you, then what you have to do is we need to restrict the topic, right? We should not pass the corresponding packet or frame to the switch. That is what we are going to do. So first let me set the what is the limit of the corresponding MAC address. So for that, command is switch port security. So if you don't know what should be the next command, then just use the shift question mark, right? So it will show the what are the available commands which we need to type here, right? So here what is we have, MAC address is there, maximum is there, violation mode is there, right? So aging also there. So here my intention is that first I will try to see how many MAC address I am going to set, right? So for that I am entering MAC address. So after MAC address, what we have to do, we have the two options. So earlier we have copied this MAC address, right? FA0/1 MAC address. Either we can paste the MAC address here, then we have the one more option, sticky. So sticky means it will directly take this MAC address, right? Automatically it will bind this MAC address to the corresponding FA0/1 interface, right? So either you can use the manually or you can use the sticky, right? So in this case we have already copied the MAC address, right? So just I am copying this one on the FA0/1 interface, right? 6793, right? 9, or otherwise you just type the command sticky so that it will be okay, right? So now how many MAC address set? Only one MAC address is allowed in this FA0/1 port. What is that MAC address? 6C793 is allowed. So other than this, anybody cannot be allowed. If they are trying to access, either we are going to perform shutdown operation or restriction operation or protection operation for the port security mechanism, right? So now after giving the MAC address, then what we have to give means switch port security, right? So then what we have to do is after assigning this, right? So we need to give the maximum, right? So how many maximum we need to give? So let it be I'm giving only one, right? Only one. So only this MAC address can be able to access, remaining cannot be accessed. You can give anything, right? So 220 whatever it may be, right? Once it is done, so we have given this MAC address, then how many MAC address will be allowed also completed. Now we need to provide the violation mode. If something violated out of these three things, we need to set what is the violation mode should be, right? Port security, right? So violation. So what are the violations we have? Protection mode, restriction mode, shutdown modes. We will see one by one what is the difference between all these things, right? So let me by default I'll consider the shutdown mode, right? See here what is the conclusion here is we have given maximum number of MAC address can be accessed is 1. That particular MAC address is this one. If other than this MAC address coming to that interface, we need to perform the shutdown operation, right? So just exit, go to the privilege executive mode, then just type the command show port security, right? If you type the command show port security, what is happening? So this port we have given the port security, then maximum secure address count is 1, so current also 1. If anything violation is done, if 1 equal to 1, then it will perform the shutdown operation, so that hacker or attacker cannot able to access our the FA0/1 port interface, right? So now we'll minimize this one. Now what I'm going to do is this cable we have, right? This cable I'm detaching from the FA, this PC1, then I'm going to attach to the attacker machine. Now we will see that whether this can be able to communicate or not, right? So we have given the shutdown mode, right? So now see that based on the port security, what is going to access, either here he is going to gain the access or it is going to stop the forwarding the information or packet or frame to the switch from the FA0x1 interface, right? Just I'm taking, drag this one, just connect to here, then wait for some time. Just I'm going to open it. Let me something like this. First let me give the IP address, right? Now see that before going to ping, right? So command prompt, just I'm typing ping any IP address 192.168.1.1 something. Now see that is it forwarding the packet or not? Just check it. See, request is timeout, right? See that request is going to be timeout, so this packet will not be forwarded. So right, because what is the violation mode? We have given shutdown operation given. So why it is violated means, right? So what is the reason for violation is that if you see that here in this corresponding PC, what is the MAC address? It is something C030, right? So the MAC address of this one is, what is that MAC address? C793. So if anybody is come other than MAC address, then what is the thing we are doing? Shutdown. See, here we have the green color, here we have the terminated connection, right? So automatically connection will be terminated. So when in case of the shutdown mode operation. Now how to bring back this port into the normal mode of operation means, the only thing is we can able to do is that again switch back to the normal interface. Even though you are switch backing to the normal PC0, it cannot able to turn into the green color. The reason is that by manually we need to administrator has to manually shut down this port, then again we need to revoke this port, right? So for that what I'm going to do is, so going to configuration mode, then what is that interface? FA0x1, right? So let me shut down, then again I'm giving the command no shutdown, right? The moment you are giving the no shutdown command, see that the moment we are giving the no shutdown command, this is automatically changing to the green color, right? So this is the how we can do it, right? So now we have completed the shutdown mode, right? If it is violated, we are providing the shutdown operation. Next we will see the restriction mode as well as the protection mode also, right? So next we will go with the restriction mode, right? So in the restriction mode, again we don't need to enter the complete command, so just we can type switch port. What is the command is, see we are going again into interface FA0x1, switch port security, violation. So what is the other two methods? One is restrict, another one is protect, right? So this time we will construct the restrict mode, right? So now if you want to check, then go back to the right, so show port security. Now if we see that here we have the restrict mode. So in shutdown mode, automatically the cable is turned into green color, right? Now we'll see what will be happen in restricted mode, right? So just, so again I'm detaching this cable, I'm connecting to the attacker PC, right? Now see that if it is not turning into the red color, means connection is still alive, but we will try to ping from the attacker machine to our any one of the PC or switch to the corresponding network, right? So same IP address I'm trying to connect, right? See, communication is establishing or not means it is not going to establish the connection, means the MAC address of this is different, the MAC address of this PC is different, right? So that you are getting request is timeout, again request is timeout, right? So we will go back to the switch and we will check the configurations, what is happening here, right? Now see that, right? So we will type something show port security. See that how many violations counts are there? 4 violation, right? So it means that if some other MAC address is coming into the picture, it won't send your packet or information through the switch, and also it will tell us that how many violation is done. How many violation means, for example, if you see here, right, attacker mission, see what is happening here. How many packets we have sent? 4 packets, right? If you see that this is the one packet request timeout, second one, third one, fourth one, right? So the violation count is something 6 is the violation count, sorry 4 is the violation count. Now if you have this still doubt, then again we will perform the ping operation. Now see that one more packet is trying to send, right? Now what is happening? Violation mode, so it cannot able to communicate with the switch, right? So come back here, just type the same show port security command. Now see that as many times we are sending the packet, times we are sending the packet, so we are getting the violation count also. So why? By using this violation count, we can able to identify some unauthorized person is accessing our particular switch, so that we can able to protect the security, right? So this is one mode. Then one final one is the protection mode, right? Fine, configuration mode going to, right, interface FA0 by 1 we are going. Now what is the thing we are giving? Switch port security. If violated, what is the action we are going to take? The action we are going to take the protect mode, right? So exit, then type the command show port security. Now if you see that it is in the protection mode, right, it is just taking the previous only 8. So by freshly we are doing this one, means here we will be getting the 0, right? So just protected mode. So again we will try to ping from this one to this one, right? First fine, so let me try to ping one more time. This is another MAC address, right? Now see that what is happening. The connection is establishing or not? No, right? So then we'll come back to the switch, we'll check what is happening here, right? So just again check show port security. So here if you see that even though how many packets you are sending, the violation count is still remaining same. The reason is that what is the difference between production mode to restriction mode is that in production mode it will, in restriction mode it will send how many violations done, but in production mode it will not send you the how many violations are done, but it will simply stop the packet going to the switch, right? So that is the difference between production mode and as well as the violation mode. I hope you understand, guys, right? Thank you very much for your patience.